Monday, April 5th, 2021. Our invocation this evening will be offered by Shirley Murdoch, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If you would please stand for the invocation or remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are gathered here in the attitude of a city council meeting, and we're so grateful for a city that calls upon thee at the beginning of each of their meetings in prayer. We ask thee to bless the mayor and each of the council men and women as they ponder and meet up with the complex challenges that are there in the governance of our fair city. And we ask thee to guide and inspire them as they study the issues out, that they might know the decision that best benefits the most citizens. And dear Father, we're grateful that they have the wisdom to keep the mandate of masks and social distancing during this pandemic. We are so grateful for the medical people that are tending to those with the COVID, and also for the scientists that have developed vaccines to strive to bring it under control, but we're far from that yet. And we ask blessings there too, and also upon those that have lost loved ones or have suffered due to the pandemic. And we ask thee to wrap thine arms of love and comfort around them. And Father in heaven, we wish to give thee gratitude for spring, for the beautiful blossoms and the green lawns and the wonderful joyfulness that it brings into our lives. We love thee and ask thy guidance over this meeting and give thee gratitude for our blessings. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Huff.
Here.
Perkins.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
DeLucy.
Here.
Steinmeier.
Here.
Hobart.
Here.
Mayor Weir.
Here. We did have one citizen who signed up to address the council this evening. That is Virginia Still. Requests to speak to the council regarding the liquor license application for Fuel Espresso, number 41. Ms. Still, are you with us? I am. Okay.
Thank you for having me. My name is Virginia Still. I live at 4166 South Carriage Lane at the corner of 42nd Street and Lee Summit Road. We've lived there since 1969. And we've seen many changes to the street and pretty much accepted them. And the fact that we have Home Depot, Cracker Barrel, and Lincare closing every night makes living there bearable. But now we are going to have a 24/7 liquor store, filling station, which will be in what is primarily a residential area. I know we got the shopping center, but mostly it's houses all around us. We also have concerns about the sale of liquor right next to a youth sports complex, which is the baseball park owned by the Jackson County. And we have some questions about whether that is, they have any objections to that, the county, to have liquor sales right next to a youth complex. Also, we're concerned about the hours of operation. We worry about an increase in crime and traffic, especially at night when it's usually pretty quiet and peaceful. The traffic slows down, it's not quite so hectic. And for almost 30 years, we had restrictions on that property, and we fought real hard to have those restrictions, but the city council at one point decided that those are expired, and now we are ending up with what we didn't want. So this is all I have to say about it, and I object to the liquor license.
Okay, thank you for coming this evening. Are there any other citizens who wish to address the council this evening? Okay, this takes us to our Employee of the Month resolution. Madam City Clerk.
Whereas the City Employee Recognition Program recognizes outstanding performance by employees of the City of Independence, and whereas an employee committee selects the Employee of the Month for exhibiting the qualities and ideals that best represent public service. And whereas the Employee Recognition Committee has selected Claudia Kunzler, custodian with the Municipal Services Department, as the Employee of the Month for April 2021.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion for approval of this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Claudia, if you'd like to come forward, we'll present you with your Employee of the Month resolution.
I don't know what to do. I've got it muted though.
Thank you very much. We're here to take a picture. And in no particular order, our next proclamation is for the Van Horn High School boys varsity basketball team. Madam City Clerk.
Whereas the City of Independence, Missouri is proud to recognize the Van Horn boys varsity basketball team and their 2020-2021 achievements. And whereas the team achieved third place in the Class 5 state and are Class 5 District 14 champions and Lathrop tournament champions. Whereas not only did the team as a whole achieve great accomplishments, Jaden Monday received recognitions for All-State, Conference Player of the Year, First Team All-District, and First Team All-Conference. Jeremy Page received First Team All-District and Second Team All-Conference. Bryson Dean received First Team All-District and Honorary Mention All-Conference. And Sean Mitchell received Honorary Mention All-Conference. Whereas the team had leadership and guidance from head coach Max Sollers, assistant coach Dante Lee, trainer Katie Beck, and activities director Chris Corey. Whereas the Independent City Council recognizes all of the players for their accomplishments over the season and for their hard work. The players are, let's see here, one moment. There we go. The players are Cooper Sumter, Sean Mitchell, Aaron Taylor, Paige Jeremy, Cameron McCormick, Darius Ross, Jaden Monday, Bryson Dean, Caleb Jefferson, Sammy Bailey, Alex Morales, Zachary Kerr, and Corey Messick. Now therefore, Eileen N. Weir, Mayor of the City of Independence, Missouri, hereby proclaims April 5th, 2021 as Van Horn High School Boys Varsity Basketball Team Day.
Okay. Thank you. Just look over there and she'll take the picture. You can give the picture too.
Excuse me.
It's for the council.
Well, I guess they're not done.
Thank you very much. Our next proclamation is for the William Chrisman High School girls varsity basketball team.
Whereas the City of Independence, Missouri is proud to recognize the William Chrisman girls varsity basketball team and their 2020-2021 achievements. Whereas the team was the undefeated champions in the Greater Kansas City Suburban Conference White, Class 5 District 14 champions, and made their first appearance in the Final Four in 28 years, where they took fourth place in Class 5. Whereas not only did the team as a whole achieve great accomplishments, Gia Moore, Jackie David, Amanda Sopinski, Millie Tawala, and Jolie Spinks were named all-conference players. Jackie David, Gia Moore, Amanda Sopinski, and Millie Tawala were named all-district players, and Jackie David was named all-state player. And whereas the team had leadership and guidance from head coach Scott Schaefer, assistant coaches Jim Underwood, Chris Wells, Casey Askins, and Amanda Smith, and manager Chance Hale. Whereas the Independent City Council recognizes all of the players for their accomplishments over the season for their hard work, dedication, perseverance, and love of the sport of basketball. The players are Olivia Williams, Shelby White, Monica Tharp, Lillian McGee, Krista McAllister, Giovanna Moore, Lillian Miller, Amelia McGee, Melee Tawala, Jolie Spinks, Elise Mackey, Jacqueline David, and Amanda Stopinski. Now therefore, Eileen N. Weir, Mayor of the City of Independence, hereby proclaims April 5th, 2021 as William Chrisman High School Girls Varsity Basketball Team Day.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I can
Yes.
point out just a moment of pride, these are the high schools in the first district.
Yeah, it was a great accomplishment by both of these teams. It was really fun and exciting to follow you throughout the season and all the way to the state in Springfield. So that's really phenomenal to have two of our high schools do so well in the varsity basketball. Our final proclamation tonight is for the 7 days. This was presented to Jill Anderson. She's not here with us this evening to receive it, but Madam City Clerk, if you would please read the proclamation.
Whereas 7 days make a ripple, change the world, is an annual event to overcome hatred, bigotry, and ignorance. And whereas 7 days continues with themed days of love, discover, others, connect, you, go, and onward, as we bring people from different faiths and cultures together to overcome evil with acts of kindness. And whereas the memories of 3 wonderful and unique people, Dr. William Coperon, Reed Underwood, and Terry Lamano, who lost their lives in April of 2014 due to acts of hatred, will live on and will be cherished. Whereas 7 days expands its acts of compassion, tolerance, and understanding to those who gather and celebrate the lives lost due to the acts of hatred and intolerance. Whereas we fully support and encourage all of Independence, including residences, businesses, and visitors, to come together during the 7 days, 2 weeks of celebratory activities to recognize the evil, ignorance, and hatred will be eliminated by understanding, kindness, and love. Now therefore, Eileen N. Weir, Mayor of the City of Independence, Missouri, hereby proclaims April 13th through the 25th, 2021 in recognition of 7 days in Independence, Missouri, and urge all citizens to remember the events of April 13th, 2014, not only for the losses of that day, but also for the significance of the powerful and enduring vow to overcome evil with good.
Thank you very much. This brings us to our consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the reports and recommendations of the city manager.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I would like to pull Resolution 21-735. Are there any other items any council member wishes pulled for separate consideration?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
734.
734? Okay. Any others? Okay, Madam City Clerk, if you would please call the roll on the consent agenda minus 21-735 and 21-734.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Ware.
Yes. Consent agenda passes. Resolution 21-735 is a resolution approving a tax increment financing supplemental appropriation policy. This is a very, very important item to the financial health of our city and addressing some issues that have been certainly a burden on the taxpayers of Independence for quite a long time. We did have a presentation at a study session by our finance director, our bond counsel, and our financial advisors regarding this. But I believe this is a very complex issue that the taxpayers of the City of Independence should have some more time to fully understand the impact of this policy moving forward. So since this was placed on the consent agenda as a resolution, I feel like it could utilize a little bit more time for scrutiny and understanding by the public. So I would like to make a motion that we postpone the vote on this until April the 19th to allow for the taxpayers of the city and as well as our city employees and city council ample time to understand the complexity of what is being proposed in this appropriations policy. So with that, I will make a motion to postpone 21-735 for consideration on April 19th. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilman Steinmeier.
This, and I agree with you, this is a very complex issue concerning an area that is near and dear to me. There seems to be several things happening at the same time that we're going to be looking into this issue deeper with the Crackerneck Creek in terms of the TIF and some adjustments with the TIF. One of the things that I was curious about in looking at the TIF was the city staff has asked that the TIF committee postpone or not make a decision for, I think it's 3 months. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager?
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
Do we know from the city who requested that?
I could ask our Director of Planning, Tom Scannella, to come forward if you'd like to.
Can we
Yes.
have him do that?
Yes, Tom.
Good evening. That request came from our bond counsel, so that
From who? I'm sorry.
from the city's bond counsel, Gilmore Bell, so that they could further look at this and coordinate that with what the finance department is doing.
So it was it's the TIF council that's advising. Have we been paying attention to this TIF committee and some of the things that are happening there? Specifically, we have I had to watch one segment of it twice because we have the county, we have a gentleman who represents several interests, and it feels like they're just trying to carve out a piece of pie for other purposes other than let's pay down this debt. Okay, so I was curious why we need more time on this particular issue when I hope that the citizens of Independence are really paying attention to this, because at this point, someone being born today is going to be in his 20s before we even think we're going to be able to pay this off, and I'm not even sure we can do it then. Mm-hmm. So the idea of the sinking fund, the idea that we're giving this group more time to jockey, in my opinion, jockey for in a position financially to get their share of something that just isn't there. I mean, we're going to be passing this debt on to generations from now. So I'm curious as to why we're doing that. We're allowing them more time in this process, but I don't know how much more time we need. The idea that we have to have a sinking fund should tell the citizens of Independence all they need to know about this particular super TIF. So I don't know that I'm going to support this, the idea that we need to give more time for this. So I just wanted to know who in the city had asked for that extension of time. So thank you for doing so.
Yep.
Yeah. Unless you have something else to add, did you? No? Okay.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the motion to postpone till April 19th? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmembers Huff,
No.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
No.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, motion passes. Resolution 21-734, Councilman Huff.
Yes, I was reading through this, and I'm kind of trying to figure this dude out. I'm not real happy with where this solar farm is to begin with, but what exactly is this City Manager? What are they asking for? Is this just a refi, or what exactly is this?
Yeah, I'm going to ask our Director of Finance, Brian Kidney, to come up and explain this to the council. This, as Brian's coming up, this came as a request from the current owner of the solar farm, which is not the city, as part of a refi that they're doing. So I'll ask Brian to go ahead and explain that for us.
Sure, thank you. Brian Kidney, Director of Finance Administration. When the agreements were entered into in 2017, they had provisions within those agreements to allow the city to, or allow the, I guess, the leaseor, who would be MC Property here, or MCP Independence, to get financing or to use the equity of the agreement itself as financing. And so basically what we're doing is we're entering into agreement, or we're allowing the agreement to be used as collateral for their financing. So they are doing a refinancing. In the original agreement, we said that we would allow them to do that, and so that's what this is.
So no matter which way we vote, this is going to go through anyways, what you're trying to tell me.
Wait, it isn't, it was originally agreed upon that we would approve this if it came up.
Okay, thank you. I move to approve bill number 21734.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff,
No.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, resolution passes. We have several public hearings this evening. The first is a public hearing for the application by Carolyn MacArthur requesting a rezoning from C2 General Commercial to R6 Single Family Residential for the properties located at 1327 and 1329 South Main Street. This is new information only. Hello.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Rick Arroyo, the Assistant Community Development Director here at the city. This rezoning application was considered by Planning Commission on February 23rd. The Planning Commission did recommend in favor of this rezoning. This cleans up some legal non-conforming, a lot that's legal non-conforming currently C1 to R6, so the property owner can actually make some home repairs and take out a loan. And I have no new information.
Is there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-011, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C2 General Commercial to District R6 Single Family Residential for the properties located at 1327 and 1329 South Main Street in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Mr. Arroyo, I do have a question. In reading this property is adjacent to the Santa Fe TIF area. If I read the information correctly, this was zoned commercial as to perhaps encourage the opportunity for commercial development, although it's not included in the TIF. Is that correct?
It's not included in the TIF, but it was indeed zone commercial.
Okay. So I also understand that it's always been residential. I mean, there's always been a residence.
Yes.
One lot is now vacant, but it's always been, prior to that, a residential lot, but it was proactively rezoned commercial in the anticipation that it might be able to attract development into that TIF, which obviously, has not occurred. So I just wanted to clarify that.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Are there any other questions on this ordinance? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, Ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the application by Travis Thonen requesting a rezoning from C2 General Commercial to R6 Single Family Residential for the property located at 2301 South Glenwood Avenue. This is new information only. Mr. Arroyo.
This rezoning application, again, was also considered on February 23rd. The Planning Commission did recommend in favor of it. This rezoning actually takes a legal non-conforming commercial lot that has a single-family home and a fourplex on it. And again, the property owner wishes to be able to make repairs and take out a loan for that. I have no new information to add.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-012, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C2 General Commercial to R6 Single Family Residential for the property at 2301 South Glenwood Avenue in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins, Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the application by Travis Thonen requesting a rezoning from C2 General Commercial to R30 PUD High Density Residential Planned Unit Development and approve a preliminary development plan for the property located at 9401 East 23rd Street. This is new information only. Mr. Arroyo.
Again, this rezoning application was considered by Planning Commission also on February 23rd. Planning Commission did recommend approval of this. This is in conjunction with the last rezoning. This is the fourplex that's also on that same lot. And again, to be able to bring it up to legal conformance so they can take out a loan to make some repairs.
Okay, is there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-013, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C2 General Commercial to District R30 PUD High Density Residential Planned Unit Development and a preliminary development plan for the property located at 9401 East 23rd Street in Independence, Missouri. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
Yes.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes, ordinance passes. Next is a public hearing for the application received from Spirit World and Food Mart for a retail selling of intoxicating liquor in the original package license for their new location at 17525 East US 24 Highway. This is a full public hearing. Mr. Scannell.
Yes, Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Tom Scannell. I'm the Community Development Director. Spirit World currently operates out of the Susquehanna East Shopping Center. They are looking to relocate to the adjacent tenant space as well as expand their operations to include fuel sales. They are seeking City Council approval for the retail selling of intoxicating liquor in the original package. As the City Council will remember, a few months ago, the City Council considered the Community Improvement District for the Susquehanna East Shopping Center. As part of that, the owner will be making some major facade improvements and landscaping improvements, and it was envisioned that Spirit World would move to this new end cap tenant space. Those construction plans have been turned into the city, and those are being reviewed, and I have nothing further to add on this application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scannell. This is a full public hearing. Is there anyone present who would like to speak in favor of this application? Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Council action is requested on the application received from Spirit World and Food Mart for a retail selling of intoxicating liquor in the original package license for their new location at 17525 East US 24 Highway.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
Yes.
Perkins. Yes. Stewart.
Yes.
DeLucy.
Yes.
Steinmeier.
Yes.
Hobart.
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Ordinance passes. Our next public hearing is for the application received by SM Trading Corporation, doing business as Fuel Express number 41, for a retail selling of intoxicating liquor of all kinds in the original package license for their location currently under construction at 4200 South Lee Summit Road. This is a full public hearing. Mr. Scannell.
Yes, Fuel Express is seeking city council approval for the retail package to sell intoxicating liquor. This facility is currently under construction. It's located at Lee Summit Road, just south of I-70, adjacent to Home Depot and Cracker Barrel. The applicant in this application operates 20 locations in the greater KC Metro. At this location, there is no history of past liquor licenses at this location. This is the first building built there. The application meets the requirements of the Alcoholic Beverage Code, and have nothing further to add on my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a full public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Just come on forward and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Barbara Lazier. I live adjacent across the street from this soon to probably be liquor store gas station. My concerns are traffic, noise, trash, and the girls' softball field to the south side of it. They play there all summer. They're 18 years and under. There'll be a lot of traffic. My other concern is the one-way entrance that goes towards the west on the south side of Cracker Barrel. I can see people coming out of there going the wrong way, trying to take a left to go towards I-70, hitting the median, causing accidents. Those are my concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak on this application? Yes.
Hi.
Yes, I'm also a neighbor over there also. Not sure why I wasn't notified of this. I did a search on it. I'm within
Oh my gosh.
300 feet of the property. My concerns are pretty much the same with them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're hearing something that was a little distracting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my concerns are pretty much with them. It's traffic. It's just kind of the place that was built there. I was told there were some restrictions there, and this place kind of got built anyway. And then also the lighting over there. If you look at the lighting, kind of how you guys have it set up, where the lighting needs to shine straight down, the lighting actually kind of shines onto our houses. So I have some pictures of that if you need to see that. But yeah, just the liquor license and some of that stuff has us kind of concerned. And then the other issue would be the traffic. So one problem we've had there over the years is when people pull out, they don't hit the light, so they come into the neighborhood and then do a turnaround right in the intersection. So that would be another concern.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Harold Leisure, and I live in Carriage Lane. And as soon as the new establishment has enclosed its encounter, they lit the north side of the building. I've worked for the county of Johnson County Parks and Recs Department. We were required by law for the city and the county to use muscle lighting, which reflects not within the neighborhoods and avoids all light directly at it. I've driven from 40 Highway all the way up to 23rd on Nolan Road to see if anything lit as illuminant as that are in a direct line fashion. There is nothing that compares to this. Our house, the rear of it, faces the building, and I didn't have to turn my lights on at night with the blinds open. It is just like daylight. And on the county, there used to be a county restriction upon the length and the distance of where alcohol could be sold. Between that and a facility used by Park and Recs, we have no idea. Of course, we did not know that the extension had expired. We tried to find out when they first broke earth at the 40 highway. The city refused to give any information, contacting every planning group. We don't know, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. Once it was up, then they finally said what it was. Still haven't marked it. Plus, I'm sure the rest of the lighting hasn't been added either, like to identify who they are, the lighting of the pumps, and the driveways to go in and out of. That is my concern with basically, to me, it's a violation of us, the residents. And from where they are, on the north end, to the center of I-70, this is state property. No trash, no maintenance, no nothing. As long as they go east and west, that's fine. It is just a pit from Quick Trip, every restaurant, Home Depot, and the back of our house on the hillside is just loaded. We've had 7 cars that's driven off over the embankment and down into the creek. The creek can't even flow now, and no one does anything about it. So this is just more traffic in a very sold area, and it really will affect the community in Carriage Lane. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, anybody else who wishes to speak on this application?
I have some photos of the lighting if you guys can see that.
Okay, if you'll just bring them up here, that'd be fine. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Is there anybody who's joining us virtually who wanted to speak on this application?
Yes.
Okay. If you could
Okay,
please turn your camera on.
Oh yeah, hang on just a second here.
Thank you. Hey,
There, can you see me?
yeah,
Okay, great.
thank you.
My name is Jerry Roush. I represent the Food and Fuel Espresso, and we really appreciate everybody's comments tonight. And we certainly understand what they're asking for. Now, we recently are in the process of purchasing that particular property from the landowners who originally started to build that, and are working very diligently both with the city and with everyone involved to meet all of the needs. Now, some of the concerns that I'm listening to are taken into effect, one being the lighting. With the lighting, we use a very low density lighting. We've actually changed out our canopy lights, and we've actually changed out our perimeter lighting to make sure that you don't have the light noise on the houses next door. Concerning the water retention, we are actually putting in a pond in front of the store with a reservoir that's going to catch most of the water that is going to flow. So instead of it flowing now down the street and into the neighborhood, it is going to flow through our parking lot. And if anyone would like to join on, I'd be happy to meet anyone out there that would like to discuss it. It's going to flow into both corners, and it's going to catch all of that water, and then it's going to retain it into a natural flow as opposed to letting that water run down. So we're actually improving that area as opposed to it goes. Ms. Steele brought up earlier about the 24 hours. Our intention is not to be a 24-hour store. In most of the neighborhoods that we go in, and again, we operate over 20 stores to date in the Kansas City metropolitan area. We do not open 24 hours at all. So that is really something that we understand. We don't want violence. We don't want noise. We don't want our neighbors to certainly not shop with us. And then my final point is that we certainly would like everyone to understand that while we need the liquor license in order to compete in this area, food service is really what we're all about. Today, we have gone in and we've gutted the whole inside of the store. We've put in a kitchen. We've taken out the beer cave. We serve Mazio's Pizza, which is a very nationally known brand. We have a crispy, crunchy chicken program in all of our stores. And we would like to invite anyone. We just opened our recent store on Chipman Road and Ward Road over in Lee Summit, Missouri. We would like to invite all of the residents to please go visit the store and see what kind of operation that we're going to offer. One more point I'd like to make, I think, is that being as big as we are, we have training, and that being safety training, that being liquor laws training, that being employee training, customer service training that we're going to offer. And we're hoping that we can actually fit in and be a good neighbor as opposed to coming in and saying, oh, we're just going to build this store and we're going to run it. That is one of the things that really interested about that, is because we really do operate mostly in neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Scannell, would you just hand those pictures up here so we can take a look at that? I just wanted to, I think it would be appropriate to clarify that this is an application for a liquor permit. A lot of the issues that are being brought up, I understand are concerns of the neighborhood, but that is not what is before the council this evening. What is before the council this evening is an application for retail selling of intoxicating liquor. So is there anybody else who would like to speak on the application for the liquor permit? Yes, come forward.
Well, I am kind of concerned. I know it's about the liquor, again, it's Virginia Still. I know it's about the liquor license and all, but he brought up about the pond, and there's no room for a pond in front of that building. Just want to let you know about that. We have the creek that comes behind our house, and it floods, and I can't imagine what more runoff from a pond and draining down into this drain is going to do. I know it's a liquor license. I know that's not what it's about tonight, but we never got an opportunity to talk about this because the council changed the rules on this years ago, and now we're stuck with it. We're stuck with what we're getting. So I object to the liquor license totally.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody who'd like to?
Maybe you can answer this question for me. Is there not a restriction or a policy on the distance between a city park, a youth park, which is owned by the county?
Mr. Scannell?
And have they been notified?
So the city's alcoholic beverage code does not have a distance requirement from a park. As far as the notification goes, we notify the property owners within 300 feet from the establishment.
Okay, thank you.
Would the county be a property owner?
Mr. Scannell?
I am measuring that right now. So it appears that the county park property is over 400 feet from this establishment.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other, anybody else who wishes to speak on the public hearing? Are there any comments or questions from the council on the public hearing? Public hearing is closed. Madam City Clerk.
Council action is requested on the application received from SM Trading Corporation doing business as Fuel Express number 41 for a retail selling of intoxicating liquor of all kinds in the original package license for their location currently under construction at 4200 South Lee Summit Road.
Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
No.
Perkins,
No.
Stewart,
No.
DeLucy,
No.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
No.
Mayor Weir.
No. Application fails. This takes us to our non-ordinance action items. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-739, a resolution amending resolution number 6347 by adding the pride flag to the list of flags to be displayed at City Hall and other municipal facilities.
Is there any discussion on this item?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
so what I'm going to say, it's not specifically related to the pride flag, it's just about any flag other than official government flags in general. I don't think they should be flown on city buildings or properties. As a city, I don't think we should be favoring one organization, group, or movement over another. And just for the record, I already think we have an inclusive and welcome community. I'm not sure I'm not sure how much a flag would help that. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions on this item?
Madam Mayor?
Madam Mayor,
Councilmember Steinmeier?
Go ahead, Councilmember DeLucci, go ahead.
Councilmember DeLucci?
thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Steinmeier. I was simply going to say that I agree with Mr. Stewart. He said it much more eloquently than I could have. I'll be a no.
Councilman Steinmeier?
Thank you. I'm torn by this. I really am. I want us to not make hollow gestures by any means. I would like to have a discussion at some point in terms of our diversity and inclusion policies and hiring practices in the city. I've asked the city manager to pull some of the profiles of our hiring in the city, and I want this to have a discussion and not have, like I said, and I don't know the heart behind it, so I'm not accusing. I just want it to not be a hollow gesture. I really want us to look at diversity and inclusion in our city and how we function and operate. And I don't think that just putting a flag up a pole does that for our city. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, that we will start taking a look at and being more engaged with our diversity and inclusion task force to help propel us forward as a city, if this is really our heart, to be more diverse and inclusive. So that's all I have.
Okay, well, I can address that. If you are online, could you please mute your microphones? We're getting a lot of feedback. So
Madam Mayor.
I'd be happy to address that. Just a moment, Councilman Hobart. Yes, I established the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force nearly 2 years ago to address many issues in our city related to race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, sexual identity, gender identity. Many of those issues have been discussed among our Diversity and Inclusion Task Force, which is now merged with our Human Relations Commission. When I joined the council in 2012, we did look at our personnel policies, our hiring practices. We made some significant changes to include domestic partners in our healthcare benefits, as an example. I travel to many, many cities, as I know many of you do as well, and it is quite common to see cities celebrating Pride Month in this fashion, holding parades, in which I participated in other cities, and showing this symbol of inclusion and acceptance in a very public way. So this is not a hollow gesture. A few years ago, we put the pride flag up in June outside of City Hall. It remained there for the month of June. I will tell you personally, I received an outpouring of appreciation from our city employees and from our community. It was determined later that this would be the method of requesting that a flag be flown at city facilities, that it would come before the council for approval before any flag were to be flown for any purpose, whether that's the Royals winning the World Series, the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I'm a member of the Mayors Against LGBT Discrimination. We are participating in the Municipal Equity Index. Those are things that are specifically addressing the needs of the LGBTQ plus community. So this is why I continue to bring this forward and seek council support, as I have every year, because I believe in my heart and in communication with many people in this community that this is something that matters. And it may be a small gesture, but it has great meaning. Councilman Hobart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and that was very well put. You've certainly captured the spirit of what flying the gay pride flag would be for me, and I'm sure for other members of the council. Unfortunately, though, or maybe fortunately, I agree with Councilmember Stewart, and as much as I might like to have groups that I like to support more than others, I think it is important for people of all, any and all characteristic to be welcomed. And I think the role of government is for us to stay as neutral as possible. I think that's the best message to send to our residents. But I support the gesture, and I don't mean a gesture like a hollow gesture. I disagree with that characterization. I support the idea. I just can't vote for it.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I was not implying that it was a hollow gesture. I just didn't understand the heart behind why this was put on there. I think you know I'm supportive of our LGBT community in this city. I have good reason to. I just didn't understand it.
Yes, thank you.
And instead of just making a resolution to run a flag, I really want to work on the things that are important to it, what it stands for. As a city, as a whole, I want to stand with our efforts to be more inclusive, to be more diversified in our city. And so for me, I was not implying that it was a hollow gesture. I did not want it to become that, and I didn't understand why this was important. Now I do. So I just want to explain that it's not that I just am looking for some dogfight in it. I don't. I want it to be a real meaningful resolution that goes beyond just putting a flag on a pole. And that's the heart of what I'm trying to communicate.
Councilman Steinmeier, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to tell you and the council and the community the reason why I continue to put this on the council agenda. And my experience is that this is important to to members of our community. So, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Suff?
No.
Perkins?
No.
Stewart?
No.
DeLucy?
No.
Steinmeier?
No.
Hobart?
No.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Item fails. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-740, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of funding from the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, Office of Justice Programs, fiscal year 2020, Burden Justice Assistance Grant, JAG program, through a Kansas City, Missouri ordinance number 210071, which allocates $50,022 to the City of Independence, Missouri for the police department's use.
Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
DeLucy?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Item passes. This takes us to our second readings. Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-010, an ordinance authorizing the removal and destruction of municipal court records that have met all requirements to be eligible for such destruction and are the subject of Circuit Court Administrative Order number 2021-214. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
DeLucy?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Ordinance passes.
Bill number 21-014, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a contract with Jackson County, Missouri, which calls for Jackson County to provide funding in the amount of $300,000 to the City of Independence Police Department's law enforcement school-based initiative called STEP. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
DeLucy?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Weir?
Yes. Ordinance passes.
Bill number 21-015, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, Article 6, Purchases and Sales, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and Section 6, and directing the city manager to amend the procurement policy accordingly. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Stewart.
so I had requested this, and I'm hoping the council agrees with me. I think we need to make these changes to the procurement policy, so I think we have better control on the money that we're spending. I've asked a couple of things, the first being that anything to change the $100,000 spending threshold to $50,000. In addition to that, I would like any professional service contracts to be approved by the city council regardless of the amount. I realize it's going to cause us some extra work and the meetings are going to go a little longer, but I think it's important. What I'm really trying to avoid is saying no to some type of professional service contract and then somebody deciding to just piecemeal it together with some smaller contracts below the $100,000. So that's all I have on that. I'd move for approval on it.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Yes, Councilman
Madam Mayor.
Hobart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, I can appreciate Councilmember Stewart's desire to be fiscally responsible. I don't believe this is the way to do it. I think this is a solution to a problem we don't have. I haven't come across any examples or heard anyone talk about an issue with the procurement policy. I also think that we need to, instead of restricting the city manager's ability to run the city, run his business, act as a CEO of an organization with a $300 million budget, I think we need to let him do his work. In fact, we should be looking for ways to enable that, not hamstring it, and not look to micromanage. I have no desire to read every contract that comes in front of me, and if this happens, then I will do so. And that's not my job, and I'm not qualified to decide what the water department needs or what parks needs or what sewer needs. My job is to review what the city manager recommends and make a decision that's in the best interest of the residents. So I will be voting no on this, and That's all.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Madam,
Yes, Councilman Perkins?
Councilwoman DeLucia, you may go first.
oh, thank you, sir.
Councilwoman
I was
Very
just going to say that
polite
I'm also a no. I do read everything just like Mr. Hobart does, and every person, every service contract, it will be unbelievably difficult. And I don't know that I need to read every service contract. Thank you.
Councilman Perkins?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if we have to vote on every service contract, I guess my problem would be that we would have a slowdown in work. And I'm assuming that would be like traffic studies and the like. Is that correct, Mr. City Manager? Is that be part of this that I'm reading here?
Yeah, my understanding, and we can clarify with Councilmember Stewart, but yeah, it's any professional services contract.
So just using that as an example, municipal services, and Lisa and Mark has been really working with Inglewood quite well with traffic studies. So we're looking at doing traffic control measures and stuff there in Inglewood. So if this policy was in place, then that would have slowed down a process that we're working through. It's not moving as fast as everybody in Inglewood would like, but we are making progress. This would have slowed that down greatly before it would get before the council to get approval for a contract, to get somebody out there to do the study and all that. This adds just one extra step to a process I don't think we need. And if the Councilman Stewart's thoughts, if you have any suggestions or comments or anything that you'd like, you can bring them to the Audit and Finance Committee. We can help review them and walk through them. I believe this came before the Audit and Finance Committee before we took formal action on it last time when we increased it from $50,000 to $100,000. So I like the policy as is, but if there's something that I'm missing, I would be more than willing to take a listen to some more specifics.
Councilman Huff?
Yes, folks, this is called transparency. There's been a council person that is, I'm not going to bring any names for it, but has complained about the money almost every council meeting the past few months about it tapping 100,000 and questioning that. I think some things are, I think this, not every study needs to be brought up here, but there's a lot of things going on. I know the council voted unanimously to not use this company the other day, and now they signed a contract. So I think the transparency is the part that people are missing here. And I know the council person that brought this up at least a half a dozen times since June about how much money was being spent. There was one for like 99,000 was questioned, and on and on. So I will be voting yes.
Okay. Did you have anything? Yes?
Yeah,
Go
Madam
ahead.
Mayor. Yeah, specifically, just to give some background for the council who weren't aware, we did have a vote on the use of the DKMT report, and we discovered along the way that in that second phase, it was supposed to look at personnel and how the personnel, specifically in the utilities, how we were to reduce some of the costs, and we voted collectively 7-0 on that to defeat that, to not go forward. We found that there was actually an agreement that was being made for over $60,000 to have a study regarding manpower and some of the cuts that were required. I'm not saying that that this is the way it was, but it had the appearance of maybe backdooring the council a little bit. Didn't like the decision. Maybe we needed to do this. It was an action that was taken that has been stopped, of course. But as a result of it, there are things that happened that we need to be aware of, and we need to look at those. And so when that came forward, we challenged it, we questioned it, it was stopped. City manager will verify this as well. And so I support the idea that we need to rein in some of the costs and make our city team more transparent, more accountable for the tax dollars that we collect and the tax dollars that we spend. There are jobs that we can do internally that we should be doing. That's what we pay managers and directors to do. I don't know why we felt the need to go out and have to spend over $60,000 to make decisions that managers and directors are fully capable of doing, and we pay a great deal of money to do those jobs. So I applaud Councilman Stewart for bringing this forward. I think Councilman Stewart said that when the county that he works for was audited, they found that there were similar actions that were taking place, and they cut them back to $10,000. So I just think in the time of COVID, with our revenues being what they are, there is nothing wrong with asking our city teams to be accountable, transparent, and we should be, as elected officials, we should be involved in some of the financial decisions. Not forever, but during this season, absolutely I do. So I'm in support of it.
Thank you. We changed the policy not all that long ago from 50,000 to 100,000. That's pretty high. I mean, 100,000 is pretty high. It's higher than most of our peers in the region. So I have no objection to lowering it, but I do object to reviewing every contract. I think this council in the last year has done an incredible job of streamlining our services, about eliminating red tape and bureaucracy for our businesses, to be able to do business effectively, attract business, gain a reputation of a city that's easy to be in, to work in, that we're welcoming, that we're going to eliminate a lot of burdensome process. And I just think that this runs absolutely in the opposite direction. I believe that when we truly look at what we are suggesting in terms of reviewing every one of these under $100,000 or regardless is really just incompatible of where this council has set its vision as what it wants to do in terms of being efficient. So I'm going to vote no on this. I would be happy to reconsider lowering the amount from 100,000 back down to 50,000, which is more in line with our peer cities. But I don't believe that we should be reviewing every single one of these contracts. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Can we move to amend it?
You sure can.
Can we move to amend only the portion from 100 to 50,000?
So.
Or did I say that right? 100 to 50,000. Did I say it right? From 100,000.
And that contracts over 50,000 would require council approval. That you would lower the city manager's
Right.
authority from 100,000 to 50,000. Is that what you're suggesting? Which is what it used to be.
Right.
But you would also have to eliminate the language that said we're going to look at every contract regardless of the amount.
Well then, yeah, let's amend that language and take it back to the old policy of 50,000.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. So Madam City Clerk, I want to make sure we're covering, because that was a little bit.
So if I understand, I think the amendment, what you guys are wanting to do is just remove the language that creates the council approval over the consultant contracts and survey contracts as it's written.
Correct.
Is that what you're wanting to do?
Yes.
That's the
Remove
amendment.
language and then the spending to 50,000.
So you'll only be approving amending the threshold from 100,000 back down to 50,000?
Correct.
Yeah.
And I might point out, just as a fact, is the city manager provides us monthly with a list of contracts that he approves that are within his authority. So there is no lack of transparency. I mean, I see that as, even though the council doesn't vote on them, they appear on the council agenda every month as information. I think you do those monthly, don't you, Zach? And give us a list of them.
Yeah, and that's in the procurement policy that
Yeah.
we're required to report that monthly to the council.
Right, so we do see them. So if there's questions about, I mean, albeit after the fact, but if there are questions about a contract that was let, that was within the city manager's authority, those are all provided to us. So, I mean, that's, I'm sorry, I got a little off track, but I just wanted to make that point as well. So, Madam City Clerk, will you please read the motion?
This is a motion to amend Bill number 21-015 and remove the language regarding council approval on all consultants and surveys.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to be sure I understand. One section reads that all professional service contracts amount exceeding $100,000 shall be reported to and approved by the city council prior to award. And some of that language was added and some of the language was stricken. And I can't understand, what are we going back to?
Okay.
I think this is pretty sloppy, and I mean, is there a reason we have to do this tonight? Can't we work on it and bring it next time?
You can make that motion.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so I can't.
Right. Yeah. So we do need to vote on the motion that's on the floor. That would be to remove, to lower the, to amend it to $50,000. Let me just pull this up.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if she wants to make the motion to postpone, she's allowed to make the motion to
Oh,
postpone.
you can
if that's
make the
what
motion
she'd
to
like do.
postpone, Karen. Councilmember.
Oh, great. I move to postpone simply because I really can't tell what would exist in the existing procurement policy and what would not. Therefore, I move to postpone.
I would second that motion, and I would just, unless Councilmember Stewart or another council person wants a vote on this tonight, I'm sure if we're going just back to the same policy, but from 100 to 50, that it would probably be a lot easier and cleaner to just do a fresh one. So I'm sure the city manager's office could help with that, or Ms. Behrens.
So,
Well, my question is, do we even need to? If we're going back to the old policy, what are we doing? I mean, it's just a little sloppy, and that's why I want to postpone it.
well, because our current policy is at $100,000, so we would have to change our current policy to.
Okay, you're right, yes.
Revert it back to 50, which it previously was before we changed it to 100. So, Councilmember DeLucy, would you, in your motion, you want to postpone it till when? April 19th?
April 19, yeah.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second to postpone. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff,
No.
Perkins,
Yes.
Stewart,
No.
DeLucy,
Yes.
Steinmeier,
No.
Hobart,
Yes.
Mayor Weir.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay. That takes us to our first readings, and we do have two emergency ordinances this evening on final plats. And those will require a 2/3 majority vote for approval. I'm sorry, did I miss? We don't vote on this other motion since the first motion passed, correct?
No, since we've moved
Okay,
it to
thank you.
postpone to 419, there's no additional voting
Okay.
needed.
Okay, Madam City Clerk.
Bill number 21-016, an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 14 of the Independent City Code pertaining to business park zoning districts. Bill number 21-017, an ordinance approving a rezoning from District C1 Neighborhood Commercial to District R12 Two-Family Residential for the property located at 12816 East 47th Street South in Independence, Missouri. Bill number 21-503, an ordinance approving a final plat for Atlas Ridge in Independence, Missouri, and declaring an emergency. Bill number 21-503, an ordinance approving a final plat for the Atlas Ridge in Independence, Missouri, and declaring an emergency. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
DeLucy?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor Ware?
Yes. Ordinance passes.
Bill number 21-504, an ordinance approving a final plat for Tybrook Estates PUD Phase 1A in Independence, Missouri, and declaring an emergency. Bill number 21-504, an ordinance approving a final plat for Tybrook Estates PUD Phase 1A in Independence, Missouri, and declaring an emergency. Second and final reading.
Is there any discussion on this bill? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Huff?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
DeLucy?
Yes.
Steinmeier?
Yes.
Hobart?
Yes.
Mayor Ware?
Yes, ordinance passes. This brings us to council member comments. There's quite a bit under information only. We will go to council member comments and start on my right with Councilman Stewart.
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give another shout out to Van Horn Falcons and the William Chrisman Bears for their excellent season this year.
Very good. Councilman Huff.
Yes, I wanted to thank you, Mayor, and Tom Scannell for helping get the Great Western Hotel nailed down here and not spending city money to tear it down and waiting for years to get our money back. Do appreciate it, Tom, and all your hard work. Also, Mr. Mike Jackson, I complained about Lee Summit Road between Truman and 23rd Street going southbound, how chopped up it was, and I mentioned it to Mr. Jackson. He assured me it would be fixed, and it has been done. Did a great job over there. And the third thing is, I witnessed something last week. Councilman Steinmeier and his birthday bowl to 300. So never seen that even on TV. That's all I have.
I thought that was a joke.
No, it's not a joke.
Well, I'm impressed.
Do you have video of it?
I'm here to entertain.
Then we'll go to you, Mr. 300. Your turn.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to just thank Adam for filling some big shoes over the last few weeks so that Zach can do what he needed to do, take care of family. I also want to just highlight Tom Scannell. Tom, you are a guy that I can call in the evening and you will call me back. You take my calls, you call back immediately and you find answers for me. You're very responsive, and this city's lucky to have you here. And I just think that sometimes we don't recognize the efforts that our city team gives us. So the other thing is just with our police, I know we had another incident. You know, things are, they are what they are in our city. We have bad people that live in this city. We know that. People are nervous, scared. I really hope that we're going to get serious about putting together a plan to get our hiring going for our police department. They need help. And Mr. City Manager, we talked a little bit about some of the concerns with speeding. I've got a lot of constituents who have sent me messages or called me about speeding in their neighborhoods. They don't feel like they're being listened to. That needs to stop. We need to be responsive to some of the issues and concerns, especially since kids are home more and they're outside. I think TV has finally become boring. Computers have too, video games. I notice in my neighborhood a lot more kids are playing outside. So we're concerned about that. And I would love to see that people driving around in temp tags that are 3 years old, that we actually start doing something about that and making sure that they're paying their taxes, they're getting their license, and that they actually have insurance so that the rest of us don't have to pay. So if we could address some of those things, I would be very happy, and I'll bowl a 300 for you on demand, okay? Just so you know.
Nice.
Thank you.
Councilmember DeLucci?
Councilmember Steinmeier.
You're muted. Does that mean nothing?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I don't mean to break in. I think Chief Brad Halsey was trying to
Oh, I'm sorry.
address Councilmember Steinmeier.
Chief?
Yes, thank you.
Hi.
I apologize. Yeah, so we were 78 complaints on speeding, Councilmember Steinmeier and others, due to the fact that we were assigning special operations into patrol to make sure we had basic services covered. They are doing a good job now of, it's not that we didn't do any of the enforcement, it's just now that we have them back in their specialized units, hopefully that will improve and you guys will get better feedback. So we are working on that. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you, Chief.
Well, thank you for your efforts, and our prayers go out to your officer, and we appreciate everything that you do, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for bringing, that up. I told him he needed to go buy a lottery ticket because he was that lucky that night. So unfortunately, things happened, and but at least he was able to walk away and be discharged from the hospital. So thank you again for that.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember DeLucci?
Nothing, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Hobart?
Thank you. Briefly, and Chief Halsey just touched base on this, and then he left. So I guess that's the respect I get. I wanted to bring up that he's back again. The young man, the Independence police officer, was shot in twice, and I'm not going to name him because I don't know everything that's out there, but he was shot in the head and the chest, both of which should have meant that he shouldn't be with us today. I wanted to let all the police officers in our town know, and certainly Chief Halsey, let these guys know that we feel very lucky in Independence to have a police force that looks out for us, and to remind the citizens that as many complaints as you may have and as many things that happen that disrupt your life, and some in varying degrees of seriousness, our police officers are out there every single day doing the absolute best they can to make this a safer place to live, to protect us. And that young officer that day was protecting us from a very, very serious threat. He very nearly paid the ultimate price for it. He's the son of a retired Independence police officer that I knew back in the 80s that worked for my dad when he was a patrol sergeant on the evening shift. And they were big weightlifters, some of those guys back then. And it makes it just a little bit more personal to me, but it's certainly not more personal to me than any of the guys that were working with him that day or any of the command staff. So, tonight we approved the police and fire contracts, and as hard as some of these management parts can be, and unsatisfying and disappointing, you have a council full of people that support you. Police and fire need to know that, along, of course, with the rest of the city employees. And for the most part, the citizens support you too. So I wanted to make a real point to remind folks of that. That doesn't discount people's complaints. That doesn't, you know, put a priority list together. Some things are necessary. I wanted also to let the folks watching know that Audit and Finance is having a special meeting this Friday, and the presentation is designed to introduce the plan for spending some of the federal government COVID money that we're getting. And while I haven't seen it yet, I know that the folks working on it have provisions to help put bodies in the empty uniforms that we've got waiting for new officers over there. So we are hopefully going to do everything we can, Chief, to get you a full department and help us out even more as a city. So I wanted to remind all the folks of that, and thank you all for listening to this. And it was not brief, and I wish you all a good week.
Thank you, Councilman. Very well said. And, you know, certainly our thoughts are always with our officers, our firefighters, all of our city employees, especially our first responders and frontline employees who are, you know, in harm's way every day. And we're very fortunate that this situation did not end the way that it certainly could have. I would like to make people aware we will be conducting a vaccination clinic Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with the state of Missouri. The National Guard and the State Emergency Management is going to be here to assist us with that. We will be doing approximately 1,100 vaccines each of those 3 days. So there are going to be some spots available for walk-ups. That will be from noon till 5 p.m. Tomorrow. Is that right, Meg? I want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Okay, I can't see you over there. Noon to 5 tomorrow, there'll be a limited number of spots for people to walk in. These are being scheduled through the state vaccination navigator, but sometimes it takes some time for when people sign into that to get scheduled. If you choose to come tomorrow as a walk-in, you must be able to return to the Independence Center for your second shot in 3 weeks. Obviously, you have to be on the qualified list. That list is not open until Friday for all adults. I mean, beginning Friday, 16-year-olds and above will be able to be vaccinated, but they're not able to be vaccinated until Friday. But that will be an opportunity for anybody in the area who'd like to come and see if they can get a first vaccine that day. But you must be able to come back for your second vaccine to that location in 3 weeks. We did 4,000 vaccines in March. And Christina showed me it's getting more complicated because now we've got second shots, first shots, all that going on. We're doing this event with the state. We're continuing to work with the county. So Christine's got a real juggling act on her hands about keeping it all straight. But we're going to do close to 15,000 vaccines this month. So that's a great accomplishment. I mean, that's a huge deal. And if you haven't had a chance to come over and see it in action, it's really impressive. So I encourage you to come and, you know, just drop by and spend some time and see the happy faces of, you know, the 15,000 Missourians that are going to be vaccinated thanks to the Independence Health Department this month. Mr. City Manager, do you have anything else this evening?
I do not. Thank you very much.
Okay, we are adjourned.